Hi there, I've put together a bit of a video of a pipe repair I did and reline of a pretty problematic drain. You can see here all the gravel that was in that drain. Up here is a break, and the break is what's causing the gravel to come into the line. Now that break was located pretty much where in front of that toilet, so the only real way we could repair it was with a pipe reline. That was the most cost-effective way of doing it. Now you can see how much gravel was in the line. I had been there previous and cleared a blockage, but you can see that's a gravel that I had actually sucked out of the line with a wet vac a couple of days prior. So we needed to get this fixed so the tenants could use the toilets. Here's the guys from Pipe Relining Queensland, just preparing the line, getting ready to insert the packer. They're just measuring it all out, getting the liner prepped, marking the rods to the correct length. And this is them there actually inserting the packer with the liner on it. So they push it down, there's a black mark on that rod. They get that, they've already determined how far it's got to go in. They're going to inflate it. So they inflate it and then they let it sit. The resin they were using, they only had about a 12-minute work time in the heat. This is them deflating the line, getting ready to pull that packer and the rod out. They've already pulled it out. Now they're having a look and making sure they're happy with it. This is the reline. So they've just gone past the reline there and they're coming up. That's the actual reline there, and then you'll see the dent up on the right hand side there. That's all patched, ready to go. Now the next day I came back and I jetted the line to clear any remaining gravel out, and there was also a gully which was full of fat from the kitchen, which was causing a few headaches. So what I was doing here was just pushing any of the remaining gravel down to the front where I was going to, which I ended up using a wet vac to then suck all the gravel out. Here's some footage of that's right down the front. Pretty much pushed the gravel down there. There's a opening down there which enables me to use a wet vac to then extract that gravel. So this is just me pulling the camera back. There's little bits of gravel, but with the work I've got to do in the kitchen gully, that'll all be pushed down there. So with the main line clear of the gravel, I then moved on to doing the kitchen gully. So what I did first was I extracted it with the wet vac. There's a whole heap of fat. I'll just put it down there. Doing a bit of fishing. I'll pull up a big fat berg there. There's a lot of fat in this kitchen gully. I like to get the fat out of the gully before I start jetting it, so I'm not pushing it down the line. So here I push it down, and when I turn it on, it sprays back in my face. But there you go, all the fat coming out. Just throwing the camera down the main line just to see if the nozzle was coming out of that junction. Still trying to wipe the fat out of my eyes. Slowly turn it on this time so I don't get a big backlash. There you can see coming back up the iOS. Just turned it off. I'll get the wet vac. And suck out the remaining fat that was in the line. So the fat comes from the tenants or whoever must have been putting hot fat down the kitchen sink, and once it hits the water it cools and solidifies. So here's another one I'm fishing out here. It's quite a decent chunk. And what happens is the drain backs up after a while because it becomes full of the fat. This was the wet vac's last job. It had served its purpose. I had to go buy another one after this one. Wet vacs are one of those things that I use on a regular basis, probably every day. So there you can see that's the fat that I pulled out of the gully, which was quite a lot. It was clear of all the fat. And I was just going to give it a quick tidy up. Just turning on to full blast, let it sit for a bit. That kitchen branch line wasn't very long at all, it was only about a metre. There was gravel in there which had to go back up the line from the break, so I needed to clear that. So here I'm just having a look at it. I can see how far down it is. I decided to change nozzles and I was using a rear nozzle, rear jets on for fat that blasted out. So I was just changing over to more of a forward facing nozzle, penetrating nozzle. With all the fat from the kitchen, it was very hard to grip these shifters. I was sliding all over the place. In with the nozzle. I like to use the camera when I'm drain cleaning because I can get the nozzle right where it needs to be. I'll turn it on there. They're using the camera really, you can see what's going on, otherwise you're shooting blind. What I was planning on doing here, or what I did here, was I was pushing the gravel right down the front, and then so there I'm just pushing the camera down to make sure that it's all clear. I was happy that the line was clear, and then I had to go at the front. Unfortunately, the GoPro died after this, but from here I was using the reverse jet and then also using the wet vac to suck out the gravel. And this is some of the gravel that I pulled out, and there's some more. And this is the fat that I pulled out of the kitchen drain. Thanks for watching.